Howdy guys, what's up? My name's Sarah and you're watching a tutorial for brushes in Photoshop. So I'll start by saying that this is a tutorial for people who have Wacom tablets. So keep that in mind because a mouse is not going to give you the same effect. So this is a mouse. This is a nice mouse. So I'll start out with a generic file. Untitled, my favorite, and I'll show you what a default mouse stroke looks like. And it doesn't have any tapering at the sides, and no matter what I tell it to do, it will constantly be that. The first one was actually made with the tablet, but it has the same concept. So as soon as I touch the pen tablet on there and turn on the pressure and turn on the pressure here, I instantly have something like that, which is malleable and controllable by me. And that's a lot better for, say, sketching, because I can have these light lines, and if I really like a line, I can go over it a few more times and go over it with a heavier stroke. And so this is completely controlled by my hands, and I have, I think, 256 degrees of pen sensitivity on this. I know they bumped it up to 512 on some other models, so this might be one of the ones that has 512 or even 1024, but it really doesn't matter. The average user won't notice it. So, and I am the average user. So, spacing is highly important. So if you notice, this is a little bit jaggedy, whereas this is a lot smoother. It takes a little bit of fiddling with it to really recognize the difference there. So just keep playing with it, you'll get better with it. And so you can see how that'd be good for sketching, and when I turn off the opacity, this is what I use for lines, because you don't have a varying opacity, which suits my style a little bit better, but it's all up to you. I'm just giving you options here. Come on, don't shoot the messenger. So I'm hitting Control and Delete, Control A and Delete. Sorry, I know I'm hitting like 1,000 keys at a time. I will slow down. So what's important to know here is that you want to control the size jitter at 0 and hit the Control button to pen pressure, because that way if the size jitter is up here, it's just going to look bumpy, and that's not always what you want. But if you do want a pencil-like texture for your sketch, so say I drew a cat over here. Kitty cat has ears. And I'm like, oh, that drawing would look so much more stylistic if it was drawn in a pencil imitation. And so I'm like, well, I can still do that. So go over here and I select a textured brush, which is a preset from Photoshop. I know you can download some, but right now I'll just show you the presets because everyone has them. And so I'll turn down the size because that's ridiculous. I'll turn up the scatter because that way, oh, I don't want that much. I'm okay if it has a few more count in it. And I'll turn on the transfer, which is the opacity, and I'll actually turn on a texture too. I'm going all out for this. So same cat. Oh no, that doesn't look so great. Maybe I'll turn off transfer. Same cat with a stylistic brush, and this needs to get a little bit lower. And doesn't that look different? Completely different. Looks like it's drawn with a pencil or some sidewalk chalk. Yeah, that's a style you were looking for. And you can get a little bit more precise with it. You can tell it to have that kind of look to it. So say you were trying to go for a different type of line art and wanted it to look kind of rustic or something like that, then this would probably be the way to go about doing that. And you can see how that looks a lot different than, say, the original drawing, which is that soft and perfect ideal circle shape, which is this. So this is a lot cleaner and this is a lot more grungy, so it just depends on what you kind of want out of the picture. So I've wasted enough of your time with that. I will show you what you can do with the scattering. So this is me kind of trying to control the gradient effect, and that's slowly adding more pressure as I'm going across the screen. And so that's not necessarily great for shading because you have those lines, you have those striations that are easy to see. But what you can do is you can turn up the scatter for it, and that gives you kind of a more textured line between the two colors and makes it a little bit more believable, I guess, because that looks really ideal and you don't necessarily always want that in a picture. So that's just things you can do messing around with the tips of brushes, and Photoshop actually comes with these brush presets, which is a completely different panel. I know it's getting kind of crazy now, but I'll skip over these, but I'll show them to you just real fast. This is something new in CS5, and I really haven't gotten that much time to use it. It uses the tilt and the pressure and the there's some other control it might use for the newer ones. But for the most part, it shows you exactly what the brush you were using is in that 3D thing over there. And I just hate that. I can't stand it at all. So if you want to venture out on your own to use that, have fun. It's not great. So this is what the brush tip looks like for grass. And they call this grass, I think. I think they just call it grass. It's going to be called grass now. So you get that, but if you use their preset, they have all these different settings on it. So they, control the angle, they control the roundness, and they control the scattering, and I don't necessarily like when they put color dynamics on, so I'll take that off. And you do have the option to change these things, but it doesn't change the literal preset. You have to save that. So instantly you have this more realistic looking grass than those parallel blades. And so you say, well, I like this a lot better. So you can hit the wrong button actually, and hit this button and say new grass, blue grass, and that will save that change you just made. So all you have to do is hit this new brush tool. And so I'll show you some other presets. I'll show you some ones I don't use, but I downloaded anyway because I was in a mood of the day. So you won't. It depends on what you need for the picture. And I might never need Saturns for my picture, but I still like having that brush. It makes me happy. And these are user-made brushes. These are not mine. And this one's mine. This one is my charcoal-looking one. But it's you just have to play around with different things, and dual brush is something that I'm probably not going to get too into because it is really tough to use it. And what you want to do is you want to try to mix two together so that you have something that kind of overlaps in a certain way. And I mean, that's really technical for an entry-level kind of thing on brushes, so I won't really delve too deep into that. But you can see how the brush tip really affects the rest of the stroke. So actually these strokes can be applied to pen paths. So if you do only have a mouse, then you're not completely out of luck, I guess. And I'll do a different tutorial on pens because that's a completely different box of terror. I mean treasures. They're fun, trust me. So I'll show you, different purposes for brushes. So I've showed you the grass one. This is a modified grass one too. This is a little bit softer. So you can download these from anywhere. A lot of people host them. I actually put a few up of some fractals that I did just so you can use them as a background and change the color. So this one I downloaded for trees. I really haven't gotten a chance to use it, but you can see where the potential would be and how time-saving that would be. And what I like to do is I used to put a lot of skies in my pieces. Now I just throw whatever in there. So I used to take a starburst kind of pattern, which is the brush tip, and it'll tell you right here which one you're using. So you change the dynamic to size jitter to make it kind of look random, and scatter, and oh, forgot to change the spacing, and transfer. So you tell it to have a lot of opacity jitter, and you tell this to have a lot of scatter too, and maybe turn down the count. And then suddenly you have just a random looking texture that you can use as stars. So that's kind of nice. And really quick too, like you can cover up a whole sky in just a matter of seconds. And at the end of the day, that's really what you want out of Photoshop. You just want a faster way to do things more randomly, more precisely. And there's no other way to really hand put these different brushes in there. So it saves a lot of time and it gets you a really unique look. So I'll show you right now how to make your own brush. And I'll shrink the canvas down to something like 150 by 150. And say we want to go geometric and make some really good shape like a box, because I'm really good at drawing those. Yeah. Oh, I lied. I'm completely bad at it, and I should uninstall this program. Sorry, guys. Bad news. I have to uninstall the program while I'm teaching you guys it. So, say I had this box, and it looks pretty bad. Maybe I'll erase that and redraw it in. I'm not OCD. I mean, you can't be a disease. You have to have OCD. You can't be it. You can't embody it. Hey, when people say that, and I accidentally said it, you guys are gonna hate me now. Anyway, so one thing to remember is this is in grayscale because the brush really doesn't care about colors. So make sure when you do make a brush that you aren't relying on colors in order to differentiate between two different parts of it. So what I like to do is set any color that I need to be black as black, and there's a bunch of different ways to do that. You can use levels, you can use Control U, and just tell the lightness to go all the way down to 0, or you could originally draw it in black like a smart person would. So you can say, you go into the edit menu and say define brush preset, and I'll call this one square because I'm original. And so I would have a brush that looks like this, but if I spread it out and scattered it, I'd have a brush that looked like this, which is a little bit more exciting than that. So it's all what you make of it, and anything you could possibly want, there's a faster way to do it with brushes. And I think that's about it. Let me know if there's anything specific you want to see, and I'll try to do it. And good luck, and hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks, bye.